Do you use Google products? Today's guest, Dara Sklar, owner of Synced with Dara, considers herself a productivity geek. Most small business owners and entrepreneurs are using Google Workspace tools, Gmail, Google Drive, Google Calendar, Chrome, all of that kind of stuff in their businesses. But these tools are only as good as the user's understanding. So, are you ready to learn the top Google hacks that will save you time and make your business more productive on today's 15-ish minute coffee chat live stream and podcast with Anna and Selena?
Are you?
I know. We left it with a question this time. We need some answers. Are you ready? Drop it in the comments. Are you ready?
I'm very excited for today's convo just because I think whether people are watching, I know, John, I'm telling you, this is like, if there's a show to watch to give you some productivity for the day, this is it. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I've loved every single guest we've had, but this one particularly, I really like.
Well, and I think that what she's going to be talking about is so far reaching. I don't know a single person that does not use at least one Google tool, right? Whether it be just their web browser is a Chrome browser, or they are intimately ingrained in their Gmail workspace, and it's their lifeline. Their Google Calendar is their lifeline. I know that's mine. If it's not on the calendar, I'm not there. Sorry, guys. Selena, you are muted currently, just as a heads up.
You know what, Anna, I wanted to see how long into the show that I could get you to say that. And it's good. It's like not even a solid 3 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're excited about our guest today. And we do have a call to action for anyone that's jumped on and watching live right now. We want to know, do you use Google products? And if you do, drop in the comments like which ones you use so that we can kind of maybe tailor some of the content and maybe what she talks about today, our guest talks about today, to, the people that are watching live. She's going to cover it all, but you never know.
We have some great questions. I'm excited, seriously. Because I'm going to say what I use just before we move to the next segment. Gmail, Google Meet, sometimes when I'm not Zooming, Google Keep, Google Calendar,
Google Classroom.
See, I don't use that there, but I mean, it's very integrated. Google Docs, Google Sheets. I mean, I just literally before we hopped on, I was doing a marketing plan for a campaign for one of my clients, and I incorporated in the doc Google Sheet that we have that has a cool little pre-launch thing I got from a friend that just did something. Hi, welcome. Okay. Anyway, so I do all the things. So Anna, are we on the part where I can just share the bio?
Let's share the bio. Let's do it.
All right, guys, here we go. Meet Dara Sklar. Dara teaches small business people to use Google's tools. Think Gmail, Google Drive, Calendar, Google Workspace, and etc. to be more productive in their businesses. She loves being the person who makes the light bulb go off for someone and helping them with something that is at their fingertips that they just couldn't see. Fabulous.
I know. I'm going to bring her up so we can say hello.
Yes. Hi. Hello. Welcome. First of all, I wanted to recognize that we have somebody out of the country today on our episode. So I'm super stoked that did not require a passport to have the show. You know what I mean? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'll be your token Canadian for the day.
Yes. Yes.
No apologies. No apologies.
No,
take it.
That's funny. Okay, you don't have to say sorry at all during this whole thing if that's what people always say. Like, you guys are the kindest country, I think they say, right? Next to Japan.
We're very polite and apologetic.
Yes.
It'll if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, and I won't be able to help myself.
Got it. We will not hold that against
your culture.
Yeah. Well, why don't we go ahead and do our coffee cup selfie?
Yeah.
And I shared this in backstage, but this is mine to show, solidarity.
I have one today too, but mine's Oregon. It's close to.
Oh yeah, Pivot. Oh my gosh.
I got this one for Christmas and I thought this is perfect if I have to do a selfie.
I love it. It's perfect. Okay, on 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Here
Perfect.
we go. Okay, I think let's just jump into it because I know that there's a lot of questions that we have that we want to share, that we want to like do all the things with you with.
Hammer them at me.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will jump up with our very first question, which is what are the benefits of spending time learning the tech tools that you want to use in your business?
All right. Well, is this the point where I just get to go?
Yeah,
you
you
get
do
to
whatever
go. You're
you
the
want.
expert
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Well, I love this question because one of the things that I have found, because I've been kind of inadvertently teaching tech to people for, I don't know, 15 years. And it always seems to start where I'm looking over someone's shoulder and I can see something that they could do better. And I'm like, oh, did you know that you could do this? And then this light bulb goes off for them, as you said, when you're reading my bio, and then they get to use that knowledge moving forward. So if I teach them one little keyboard shortcut or one little hack for something that they're doing that could be done more easily or with fewer clicks or whatever the case is, suddenly that then changes how they do things forever. And then the next time that they learn something, that becomes a new level of efficiency. And essentially what happens is as you learn these little tech tricks, you just pile them onto things you already know and they become second nature. And so the benefit to taking the time to learn those things, and I'm not saying learn 100 things at once. I'm saying learn one thing at a time and integrate it into your day-to-day life. And then learn another thing and integrate it into your day-to-day life. And the next thing you know, you'll forget the time that you didn't know all of these things. So taking a little bit of time to learn how to use something like your Gmail inbox, and you're like, oh, there are, I've been using it for years and I'm settled into this kind of rut of like how I use it, but there's maybe a dozen things you didn't know it could do, or ways that it might be frustrating you didn't even realize you were frustrated with because you didn't know there was a better way. And so it's all those little micro improvements. And Selena has taken the course that I teach, the primary one that people know me for, called Get Productive with G Suite. And each module is for one of the Google tools. So it'd be Gmail and Google Drive and Chrome and Keep and Contacts and Calendar. Did I say Calendar already? So each one of these comes with a whole bunch of those tips. And what I find is the students, they think back to the time before they ever knew all these things, and they can't even remember what life was like before knowing how to be more productive. So that's I guess that's what the benefit would be.
Right. I want to share with everybody, first of all, how we were so fortunate to get you on our show is because I bought her course twice within, I think, a year and a half's time. And the reason is I was on a frenzy the first time I was telling Dara that I was like, oh, and I did the free download. We're going to share one of her fabulous ways to just get to know her first if you're not like ready to jump in and purchase, but I'm telling you right now, it's worth it. So anyway, I purchased her course again and I was like, I'm ready to do this. And I was like, hey, send her an email. We had a little like, what would you call it? Correspondence and exchange. And come to find out, I had purchased it before. She was like, this is why you didn't get in the way you thought you were going to get in. And I was like, oh my God, I loved yours so much. I bought it twice. That's what I'm telling you guys. I was all about trying to make myself more productive with the tools that I currently use. So, yeah. And then of course I was like, you need to come on the show. Like, would you like to come on, please? Like I have your top 40 time saving Google hacks up right now just because, but I'm not gonna even like, I'm just saying, guys, when we get to toolkit, you're going to want this.
I know.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say basically is the real benefit comes down to productivity, efficiency, like just knowing what you're doing and not having to spend all this time going, wait, how do I undo that? And like, just, when you have to spend all that time, like I will go on Google to Google how to do a hack, right? Mm-hmm. Like, because I don't use it consistently, or maybe I'm like, there's got to be a better way to be able to figure out what it is I'm trying to accomplish right now. So I'll go on Google and then research it. But what you're saying is, yeah, you teach a course where you just kind of lay it out for everyone. This is how you do it on all the different Google applications.
Yeah. And, you bring up a really good point, because one of the things I always emphasize is that you don't have to remember how to do something. you just have to remember that it's possible, because you can always Google it. But if you didn't even know that it was possible to, I don't know, extend the undo send time frame from 5 seconds to 20 or 30 seconds, if you didn't even know you could do that, then of course, why would you ever look up like how to do it? So for me, I'm always trying to emphasize, like, the first layer is remembering what's possible, and the second layer is remembering how to do it. You don't always have to remember how to do something, especially if it's like a one-time setup, set it and forget it kind of situation. But it's just like, it's that part of, it's activating the part of your brain that realizes that there's a better way, or that or even just the part of your brain that goes looking for a better way to do something. And then logging away, oh, this is really smart, I'm going to make sure that I integrate that into my day-to-day.
I love what you just said, right? Just knowing that something is possible is like the first step to trying to figure out how to make your life easier, right?
Yeah. And it all just compounds, like everything. I think back to my, here I am sitting here teaching all this stuff, but I think back to myself 10 and 15 years ago, and I was creating a mess. And I like instinctively was an organized person, but my business was so busy that I was only focused on serving the clients and not focused on keeping things under control. And then it got to this like breaking point where it was too out of control, and I had to take a step back and figure things out, and then chip away at the kind of mess that I had created. And like who I am today is very different than who I was all the way back then. And I think that's the point, is like, it snowballs in a good way. Like it improves over time, just like we do with age, right?
Yeah, right. Totally. I mean, but that is exactly why I did sign up for your hacks. That's why I signed up for the course. You know what I mean? Because you're so right. I was so organized for my clients, but my own business needed some massive help, Ah, man.
And I think on the flip side, for me, I am an efficiency person, right? Like if I feel like there's a better way to do it, and it takes me a really long time, I get irritated by it. I want to know the most efficient and direct way to get something done. Don't waste my time with this big, long hoopla of things you have to do, blah, 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 when you can do a Control-Alt-Shift, function, and it's done for you, right?
Yeah.
Selena's
And
laughing because she knows this is true.
Especially things that we'll do more than once. So I think there's a difference between something you only do one time and something that you go ahead and you do repeatedly, or if you're, whether it's like back to back repeating it and trying to get better and faster, or if it's something that you're like, ooh, I'm going to have to do this again next year. Let me help my future self.
Yeah.
By maybe documenting the steps. Like, there are certain, I don't know, reports that I might run for my accountant. And every year I was like, what did I do last year? And finally I got smart enough to like list it out, set myself a little deadline, like put it into Asana. Here's the naming convention you used last year, Dara. You don't have to go look it up. Like just any of these little things that we can do to make it easier for the next time around, whether it's making it easier, making it faster, learning to go quicker and more efficiently, all of these things. I mean, it's just everything we're doing is like a self-improvement journey. Hopefully it's not a slippery slope in the opposite direction.
Yeah. And I feel like, a lot of our listening audience are small business owners and entrepreneurs. And so any time saver that they can possibly do, any system automation that they can put into play. And I love that you're saying this is not just about Google, right? This is any system that you're using.
It's a mentality.
That's so good. It is a mentality. And just putting into your head the idea that do it in such a way that you don't, like what you said, it's there, it's possible. You don't have to remember everything, but that you have the option if you need it. And that's a huge for, I think, a small business owner that's wearing 70 different hats and trying to do all the things and remember all the things. Yeah. So I love that.
And you just pick one tool that you use, and maybe you go in and you check out what the settings options are. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I didn't know it could do that. And anything that you use, it could be something as simple as Zoom. Oh, I'm on Zoom all the time. And then you realize, oh, I could get a Chrome extension that integrates with Zoom, and I can do a one-click add a Zoom link to a calendar invite. Oh, well, there I've just saved myself a whole bunch of copying and pasting in time. And, you just didn't realize that it was possible. And now you know that you can do it, and now you know how, and then your life is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I love, so toolkit that we also look for integration measures that keeps us from having to download 20 different apps that don't always talk to each other very well.
It's true, right?
Yeah. There's Zapier. That one lets all 20 talk to each other sometimes.
I know. Selena loves Zapier. I will tell you, though, I am not a fan of apps that don't talk and having to download 70 different ones. Like, I struggle with that because then I forget. I'm like, wait, was I supposed to check that on Voxer or GroupMe or WhatsApp or which one is
Discord?
Yeah, exactly. Discord. Or did they send me a Facebook message? I don't remember,
Right. I love that. Anna, let's shuffle to the next question because I want to talk more about this other thing.
I know. This is really the meat and potatoes of why we're here, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, Dara, can you tell us what are your favorite productivity tips for Google Workspace? So any of the Google tools we're talking about, what's your favorite productivity tips? Let us know like some of those things that you're talking about and what they can do for us.
All right. So first of all, I'm going to just start by saying that Google Workspace is the paid version. Technically, if we're talking brand names, Google Workspace is the paid version of Gmail. But anything that I'm about to share can I'll give you one tip that's specific to Google Workspace, but otherwise, the difference between Google Workspace and Gmail is simply that Google Workspace is A, you're paying for it, and B, the email address is at your domain versus at Gmail. But all of the functionality, there's 90% overlap and like 10% of things that you can do with Workspace that you can't do with for the most part. But for most of us small business owners, Google Workspace is fantastic because it allows us to control the data that we own. And what happens whenever you have a Google account is that all of the Google tools and all of the data that you generate, like whether that's a document that you store inside a Google Drive or a calendar appointment or emails that are connected, everything is tied into this one Google account. And when you have Google Workspace as a small business owner, let's say you bring in a contractor, you can bring them in under the umbrella of your organization as opposed to them having their own Gmail account and potentially owning the documents or files or whatever that you've paid them to create. So I'm going to start. Go ahead. Sorry, there was
I was just saying.
She's like, yes.
Yes.
So I'm actually going to just share a feature in Google Workspace that really surprised me that people didn't realize. And so I'm just going to say that when you have Google Workspace, you can have as many domains as you want. So there's probably a limit, but you could have multiple domains. So I have withdara.com, but actually if you go to withdara.com, it goes to syncedwithdara.com, which was the original one. And then I decided it was too long and people didn't like to spell the word synced. And so I just shortened it. But both of those those domains are both living inside of Google Workspace. So you can have multiple domains. So if that means that you have multiple businesses or you run, you wear two different hats, you can actually have both domains in the same workspace. And the reason I bring this up is because you can also have multiple users in Workspace, but you pay per user. And users and inboxes are the same. When I say user, I also mean inbox. But an email address, you don't have to pay per email address. You only have to pay per inbox. So if I have info at and hello at and Dara at, whatever my domain is, all three of those email addresses can land in the same inbox. And the thing that I realized as I was building out my course, I was talking to a friend. She was like, then why am I paying $48? And I was like, wait, for your 4 email addresses for $12 a month, you were paying $48 a month just because you wanted 4, but you're only one person. You don't even have an assistant. She's like, yeah, I know. And I have to check all 4 inboxes. And I was like, okay, you don't need, let's save you money right this minute. And so basically what it is an email alias. And so you can have multiple aliases that land in the same inbox. So I just want to share that because I think it's something that people sometimes don't realize. And it does make for a nice perk to having Google Workspaces that you can have more than one email address landing in the same inbox. And if you wanted to reply as those different email addresses. So if I have my info at and Dara at, and they land in the same place, but sometimes I want to be Dara when I'm replying, and sometimes I want to be info when I'm replying. Inside of your Gmail settings, you can actually set under accounts, you can set your send mail as, and you can choose what the outgoing email address will be. Once it's set up inside of Workspace, that alias then gets, you can add that as a send mail as. And then when you compose a message, you can choose which email address you're sending from.
This is the first thing I did on the second time I like went through your stuff, because I had the bandwidth to understand all that. And I'm so mad at myself because, like your friend, I had purchased but yes, now I have multiple aliases. One that I use for like when I sign up for newsletters, right? And I just told Anna this one that's a hello. I mean, yes, this is like the best tip.
I know. I'm feeling a little like, I should like brush my shoulder off here, because guess what I did like 3 days ago? I set up 3 different aliases on my Google console for my Google inbox based off of my conversation with Selena, who said, sign up for the newsletters with news at, then you can filter it into a folder automatically. And I was like, genius, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that right there, I'm like, oh, that will help me keep my inbox cleaner and more organized.
Absolutely. And for anybody who is a Gmail user, don't feel too left out, because there's actually a way to create unlimited email addresses for both Workspace and Gmail. But Gmail, you can put, let's say my email address is dara@gmail.com. I could add, before the @ symbol, I can add a plus, and any word or anything at all. It could be a number, it could be a word. So Dara plus, and then whatever afterwards @gmail.com, and it will send it to the same inbox as Dara at. So you can add, you could do, like, let's say your email, my email address was, I wish it was Dara@gmail.com. That would be really cool. But let's say I could do Dara plus newsletters, Dara plus courses, Dara plus bundles. You could actually have unique email addresses for a bunch of different things. And don't go overcomplicated. I will say, like, it's not, you don't want to create a problem by having too much out there. But I think if you do it with some intention and know that it's possible to do this, sometimes there can be a real big benefit to that. And I frequently see people signing up for my freebie or for a product through a bundle or something, and they've put the plus, and then they'll sometimes put the name of the bundle they've signed up through. And I think that also helps them not only identify like the original source, and not only create filters to potentially put any communication from people they've signed up for things through into a particular folder, but also it can give them, like, if they start getting spam at a unique email address, that can be kind of, I don't know, at least you can track it. You know where it came from.
Yes. Dara, I just saw that on TikTok. This guy was like, hey, look, when you're signing up, go, Dara plus Facebook @ Dara plus Pinterest @ and then you can see who sold your information by that spam email that comes in, because it will show up as, like, to Dara plus Pinterest @gmail.com. Right.
Yeah. I found out that Adobe got hacked at one point because I started getting spam to Adobe @darasklar.com. And I had only ever used that email address for the Adobe. Actually, I think it was Kobo. I don't know if you guys have that in the US. It's an e-reader, or like it's like it's like Kindle, but I don't know if it's an American or Canadian thing, but it's owned by Adobe. So I had signed up for my e-reader, Kobo @Dara Sklar, and then I started getting spam at that address. And I was like, what's the deal? Like, I've only used this email address with you.
Right.
So why am I getting spam? And they had been hacked, and they didn't. And so that was how I found out.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did not know about that non-workspace tip, which for my personal email that I use, that's not my work email, that is a really good tip, because at some point, right after maybe like 5 years, you just want to dump your email because you've been spam overridden.
Oh yeah.
At that point, and you just are like, you get more spam than you get actual conversations coming from people. Yeah. And you just are like, okay, I'm done with that. Hey everyone, I have a new email address.
I know. No, true story. I barely go into my personal email anymore, just for that reason. But when I did take your course, I was like, you know what? I did it once. I could do it again. I did go into my personal. I zeroed it out. I archived it just in case there was something in there, because I was like, archive 10,429 emails. Yes, all conversations. And then I was like, oh, zero inbox on my personal. Again, I got this because I joined this course that this fabulous woman has created. I was like, it was like, duh, like, well, yeah, it's there. But it, like you said earlier, like, you know what you know, and if you have an inkling. Yeah.
While we're on the topic of email, one of the things that I started doing recently, and I think this could work well for anybody, and sorry, slight sidebar, I want to say that one thing that I have done in my business is I have a client-facing email account that I do not use for any newsletters, or like, I don't want to receive any solicitations at that email address. I have a separate one. Like, I have 2 business accounts. This one is for customers. So if customer email, if anything that comes in here needs to be dealt with, everything is action requiring. And I use it for signing up for, the communication that you have with me about this show, for example. But I don't purchase anything with that email address. I'm not on anybody's email list with that address. And I like that separation, because then I really feel like if I'm in that inbox, I'm doing this type of work. It's, and then another inbox might be administrative work. And what I was going to say that I started doing recently is I enabled the promo tab inside of my Gmail account. And I had avoided using it for so long because I felt like there was like FOMO, like I don't want to miss out on anything. But at a certain point, there was like a tipping point where I had signed up for too many things. And I know that I could unsubscribe from people's emails, but actually I don't always want to. I'm on a lot of my friends and colleagues and networks email lists, and I actually want to keep an eye on what they're doing. I want to glance at it. I want to be tempted. I want to see how people do things. So I enabled the promo tab, and I probably keep about somewhere between 10 and 15 people land in my primary inbox. And those are the people that I'm actively like paying attention to at this moment. And then at some point I'll be like, okay, I've had enough of you and what your topic, and I'll put them in the promo tab. But I'm very deliberate about it. And there are some people whose emails I read all the time. And what it enables me to do is, without unsubscribing and without like overfiling, I just have this promo tab that, yesterday there were 95 emails when I looked at it. And I look down the list, and is there anything that I need to pay attention to, or that's in the wrong place, or that I actually want to read? And I hate to say this as an email marketer, because I know that, but I have to prioritize your inbox over my marketing.
Yeah.
And that's also why when I'm sending out emails, I always send out like value. Like I'm always, talking about some lesson I've learned, or teaching a Google tip, or like there's always something that I'm sharing, because I don't want my emails to just be clutter. And even if I'm promoting something, I'm usually giving some kind of story or education around why I'm promoting it, because I think like that's how it would be valuable to me. So that's how I'm going to share it. But anyway, back to this. It's just, if you enable that promo tab, you can train your inbox just by dragging things over to that promo tab. And it just makes your inbox so much less overwhelming. So Selena, you were saying like you zeroed it out, but you could also just start putting like, oh, Old Navy, oh, Amazon, oh, whatever's, just toss everything into promo. That way, when people, your friends or whatever, I do get lots of emails in my personal account that are for reading, but there's also the whack of other stuff that I don't want, that I don't need to deal with, and it doesn't need to distract me or ping me or, alert me in some way.
No, yeah. And I will say, I think just because I did get so overwhelmed, right, with the so many, like I am the person, like Anna and another very close person in my life, they go to zero every day. And I don't know how they do it, but they just, whatever. And so I'm always like, and that day I was like, you know what? If it was that important, they would have called me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, there is nothing in here right now that if I went so much over that, you know what I mean? And I archived, because I was like, I'm not a total animal. Like Anna, she's good. She's a bee. She's like, delete. And I was like, forever, Anna?
I know. I can't delete things either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't feel like
I'm
we
a
need
hoarder.
calendar invitations. We don't need.
No, you're right. You're right.
That can be. But I will say though that I definitely utilize my promo tabs. And what I do try and do, I don't zero it, but I do try and keep it to one page. So 50 emails And if I'm more than that, then I'm archiving old stuff because I'm like, if I haven't gotten to you in this amount of time,
Exactly.
50 emails later, it's unlikely I'm going to get to you, or whatever offer you've thrown in my direction is expired at this point. So it's not going to be value for me in that. We do have a question that came in from one of our Facebook users. I want to know how you do this. Is it a simple move of an email from my inbox to the promotions folder?
It's as simple as that. So the first thing you have to do is enable the promotions folder. So in the upper right on the gear, you click on that, and then there's, I think if you go into see all settings and then into the inbox tab, then you would choose check off promotions folder, or maybe it's on the general tab. But basically, you have to enable the promotions label. So it's not a folder. It's like a tab at the top where if it's enabled, you'll have a primary and then promotions. And there's also a few others that you can enable, but basically you're looking for the promotions one. And then what you do is you just pick up an email and you just drag and drop it into that that tab at the top. It's not, it's like right at the top of your inbox. And when you do that, if you do one email, there's going to be a little banner that pops up and says, do you want so-and-so's emails to always go to promotions? And so you can click on that and say yes. Or if you wanted to pick up a whole bunch of them and move them over, but that won't guarantee that they'll always go there. And something else that we've just been talking about really casually, and I want to clarify for anybody who's not aware, we've been using the word archive quite a lot. And something else that I discovered as I started teaching my course was that people didn't understand where archived emails went. Because I think that there is, and I was guilty of this for a long time myself, but there's a bunch of us who came from the Microsoft Office suite where you had to file something in order to get it out of your inbox. And Gmail is different in that way. And you can simply archive something and then rely on the search bar at the top. And the search bar has a little, like it looks like a little radio tuner, or like it's like an advanced search filter button. I can't really just know what, I never know what word to use to describe, but on the right-hand side of the search bar is a little icon, and you click that and you get a whole advanced search. So there is no reason that you shouldn't, I mean, unless there's like no subject and no words in your emails, but there's really no reason you shouldn't be able to find anything you're actually looking for if you go and you use that advanced search, and you can search by who it's from, or to, or has the words or doesn't have the words, or a date range, or has an attachment, or has an attachment over a certain size. So you can archive an email, and that all it means is that it's no longer in your inbox, but it lives in your all mail. And if you don't see all mail on the left-hand side of your Gmail, there's a little less more on the left-hand side. You can click on less or more, and it will bring you all of the other, it'll show you your trash and your spam, and you can actually drag those above the less more line, which is not the default setting for Gmail. So if you're ever looking, like if you just had an email arrive, you choose to archive it, you could then click on all mail and you would see it there. So it just doesn't have that inbox label. So I just wanted to clarify, because I think one of the beautiful ways of being able to keep inbox zero, and I use zero in quotes because I don't think it's reasonable to expect anybody to live at inbox zero, because that would be inefficient if we were constantly reacting and deleting or archiving or responding to everything the moment that it came in. It makes me think of like somebody whose home looks like it's staged. Well, we can't actually live life in a home that's that perfect and immaculate at all times. Like that would just be too much to expect. So, but archiving with reckless abandon, who is a great way to just stay on top of your inbox.
I love how you worded that. I also really love that the example you give. It is like living in a staged home. Like, don't set yourself up for failure or overwhelm with unrealistic expectations. You're going to have stuff in your inbox. You're going to have things piling on. And I think what I love about what you're saying here is you don't have to be afraid of that, because there's tools that you may not know about yet, but you're learning about just a tiny little bit right now with our guests. There's tools that you can implement. There's automations you can implement that will help you start to create a more organized workspace for yourself. I mean, we barely scratched the surface. We've talked about like 3 or 4 different little
I
things
know.
right here, and we're already at 35 minutes, which is crazy.
Yeah, because I want to share one more thing about the word archive and how I imagine it to be. You know that movie Inside Out, and it's that bear on they're looking for the memory so she can like restore, and it's there. You just have to go all the way down in there, and that special like elephant looking. Anyway, he finds the memory that she needs to restore, and it's down there. It's with all the other memories that you don't remember. That is how I imagine my archive email. It's there. It's not gone until I'm ready to bring it back up. It's just going to stay well over there until I call for it, right? So I don't know that it is not gone forever. And yes, you're right. I could talk because I'm so geeked out that you're here. Like seriously, like, oh man.
Well, I think really the big thing we need to go to our toolkit, because what's next is really, if you want more information like this, you need to connect with Dara.
We have only scratched the surface. Like,
oh
this
my
is
gosh.
just, I could talk all day long about everything.
Yes.
And
I mean,
and as I said at the beginning,
me.
we don't want to overwhelm people. You want to take on one little thing at a time, and just know that each one of these things, it shouldn't feel overwhelming. It should actually just like compound with the other things to make you better at your day-to-day use of any one of these tools. We only even talked about Gmail. Like, there's so much more.
I know we didn't. Yes. I mean, like I was saying, when I got her toolkit that we're going to be sharing with, right? And it's top 40. It's not like I went and I memorized all 40. I think as my bandwidth allowed, I keep going back to her doc and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this. I'm doing this part in my life right now with Google Workspace that I need this hack from her.
You forget what life was like before you were doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a text from my husband, and he says, "Sign us up for this course."
Yes. I'm telling you, it's totally worth it, you guys. It's totally worth it.
So you're going to have a new user soon. My husband is going to come and take your course because
excellent.
Because it is one of those things, like, whereas I'm in my Google Workspace all day, he's not necessarily. He has a different type of job, right? So he'll come and he'll be like, what do I do with all of this stuff? How do I do this? How do I do that? Right?
Yeah.
I don't always have the bandwidth to be like, let me fix your inbox for you. So,
and I'll say that at the moment, one of the bonuses for my course, which incidentally is only $37 for anybody who's wondering, but one of the bonuses is that I do monthly office hours. And the next office hours is coming up in 2 days on Thursday. So whether you've taken any of the course or not, if you just have a question or you want to come and listen in on what other people's questions are, it's basically like super casual. I show up on Zoom, people put their hands up, they ask a question, or they listen in and then they pipe up. And I basically am just doing like on-screen demos, and we just talk about things you can do. I'll troubleshoot for someone, like anything that's like a 5 to 10 minute question.
Yeah.
And that's included in that $37 course. And I do two 1 hour sessions per month usually on the same day, just to cover out different time zones.
That's amazing.
I'm telling
you.
So
if you want to hang out with me some more beyond this 15 minute ish, you feel free.
Do it today, John. Do it today. Look, John just said sold. You know what I mean?
And so it's like office hours. It's an office hour. So it's a group experience.
Yeah.
And I'll, take individual questions and answer you individually. Yeah. But it's not like the whole hour is dedicated to one person. So
yeah. And I know we've only talked about Gmail, but I'm not joking. Like the toolkit that we're giving you so you can go and jump on this with her, the top 40 hacks. She talks about Google Slides, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Keep, all the workspace tools. So, can you imagine you're getting just good stuff from the Gmail?
I feel like you've turned this 15-ish minute coffee chat into a sales pitch for my course, and it was never meant to be that. I just want to share more tips. I just want to empower people to have these more organized Google accounts.
No, but you are the tip for us to share with us. I'm like, this is the person you need. Because you're right. Can I go on Google and search all these things? Sure. And then try to organize it and keep it in one place? That's not going to happen. Let's be real. When you can have somebody that has put together a fabulous thing. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm just like, even not right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't do that one yet. Like I'm looking at number 22, but I digress. I'm not gonna, so, okay.
Well,
I'm
the
excited.
thing to remember,
Yeah.
Selena, is that there is a time to invest in yourself as a small business owner, entrepreneur, or even just as a human being. There's a time to invest in yourself. And $37 is not going to make or break your bank. It's very unlikely that that's going to be the case. And so if you can invest in yourself, and this is going to help you be more productive, have a more like calm and like a space where you feel better, like when your workspace is organized, I know I feel better and I feel like I can accomplish more, right? So maybe it is a little bit of a sales pitch. We didn't really intend it to be that way, but I think the idea is we barely scratched the surface. There's so much more. And so if you're intrigued and interested, it's absolutely worth checking out. So let's share that.
And before you do, I just want to say that as a general rule, the easiest way to be more productive is simply to be more organized behind the scenes. So like the more organized, like organization is like the foundation of productivity, because you don't get derailed. Let's say you're going and looking for something, like you don't get derailed as you're trying to find it and can't find it because you know where it is. You don't get, it doesn't take up more time. You don't get distracted. Like the more structured things are in that back end of your business, the easier it is to just do your work.
Yeah.
And if you have things set up where you know where to store things, you don't have to pile it on to a pile of mess. You can put it where it belongs and save your future self the time.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I love your shirt, but you just gave us our t-shirt. We always find a quote that comes out from every coffee chat.
Yeah.
And organization is the foundation of productivity. That is going to be your t-shirt quote.
Yes. I'm telling you, one of these days we are going to open up our like 15-ish coffee cup. I can't even talk because I'm so excited. 15-ish minute coffee chat t-shirt shop, because the gold nugget quotes that have come out that are so t-shirt worthy, I mean, it has to have a place to go.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you for saying that again, Anna. All right.
Yeah.
Shall we? Let's share what I've been just like hammering on about. Okay, I'm going to just let you, Dara, share like what this is. And Anna, there is a link in our private chat that's we'll drop in, but this will also be on our blog. So go ahead, Dara.
So this is the top 40 time-saving Google hacks you'll wish you'd been using all along. And I named it before I created it. And then it took me forever to create it because there were so many things I had to like prioritize them, and I had to, it was just a very, basically it's 40 different like one pagers, like on a single page, it gives you the tip and then a how to. And in the lower left, it actually links to or clicks through to a blog post about the same. So there is an accompanying blog post with every single one of these time-saving hacks.
It's so good, you guys. Like seriously, hold on. I'm gonna go fast. I'm not even gonna let you see anything because you should just, but I'm gonna share my tab.
There's a shorter way to get there. It's just withdara.com/top40.
Okay, wait, but I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, there you go. This is it.
It's so good, you guys. It's so good. Okay,
pop over to number 22 that you were just looking at. You were talking about 22.
Go. Okay.
So this one is, if you're sharing a Google Doc or Sheet, I pulled it up because I was curious which one you're on.
Okay.
So instantly force a Google Doc or Sheet to copy. So if I was going to share a Google Doc or do Google Sheet with someone that I wanted them to make a copy of. So for example, inside of my course, there is a, sorry, distracted me there. Inside of my course, there is a, like student notes, like a document, but it's, you keep your own, you make your own copy of it. And so rather than you know how you open up a Google Doc and at the top it's like, click file, click make a copy. You don't have to do that. So this shows you how to change, what you change in the URL before you share it. That when someone clicks on your link, it will open up and it'll say copy.
Yeah. No. Did you know that? So you know how you've gotten a download from somebody from that and you're like, oh, it automatically just goes to that thing that says, here's a copy, and you click it one time versus, right? Like you said, 3 to 4 times to do the click over to try
and
it,
also
right?
it helps the non-tech savvy or the less tech savvy people. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, okay. I'm going back to this because I'm telling you, all of the other things in here are so good. So good.
Yeah.
So
you're going to want for sure, you're going to want to do this download. And this download is going to lead you to Dara's course and following her on all the places, because you're getting constant tips. There's nothing you cannot use what this woman does. I mean, I love it. Seriously. I love
very universal.
Yeah.
I was was it before or after we were live that I was accidentally joking about how I niched down, but the people who use Google products, there's like billions of them.
I know.
So it's like I'm very niche, but my potential client base is huge.
Yeah, you're niche in the sense like whoever needs to know Google Workspace, which is, I mean, that's got to be billions of people. Am I over exaggerating? I mean,
I'm pretty sure there are billions of Google,
right?
Gmail. I mean, billions of Gmail accounts.
Yes, right.
And most people have more than one. I have like 50.
Yeah.
That's not
true. I just did a Google search, and it says there are 246 million unique Google users just in the US and 4.3 billion worldwide.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's where all those tips are coming in handy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you had said that it felt like we're doing a total like QVC thing about this, but I just, I think as an entrepreneur, and this is definitely a tool, like it says, I mean, there's 4 billion users in the world. We use this in our business.
Yeah.
So why not know all the things that you can, that you didn't know to make you more productive or make you more efficient? And I think that's why I get excited. Like, whether if you had said no, I still would have been like, you need to go find this person and download their top 40 time saving Google hacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, you guys, Anna is going to drop a link to our blog.
It's already done. There's a link that goes directly to our top 40 time saving Google hacks. There's a link to our blog that gives you all the information on where to find Dara, including another link to her top 40.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that's in our coffee chat today is going to be in our blog links. So feel free to jump to either location and make sure and do this toolkit download.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next here? All right. So tell everybody your favorite place you like to hang out and how they can continue. And, other than being in the monthly office hour, because
I was going to say, other than hanging out with you guys,
I would love it. Are you kidding me?
I mostly interact on my personal Facebook, which isn't listed there, but you can look me up. And if you send me a note and say that this is why you found me, then I'm going to accept the friend request. But yeah, I post on Instagram and Facebook, and you can track me down on any of those. It's very easy to find. And fun fact, there is another Dara Sklar in the world, but I locked in all of the good handles. So.
I love that.
How interesting that there could be another one with that combination. Like,
I know. Both are such uncommon and unusual names. Yeah. I've met her in person, actually.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Is there a picture of you two together then? And you're like,
there is one. Yes. We I know this is a total sidebar, but I Googled myself back in 2001 for the first time, and there she was, and I was like, who is this woman? I was in my early 20s. Right. Who is this woman? And she was in the United States, and I just imagined that she was like some middle-aged woman. Anyway, she's like 3-4 years older than I am. She lives in San Francisco. And I went to her birthday party that year.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well now I've not yet found one for my name, but now I think I want to make it a goal where I say I'm going to do Dara vibes, and I'm going to try to like befriend them and be like, hey, same names. Whose party is first?
If you have an uncommon name, there's like a serious bond that you build. Like, I mean, I'm sure the John Smiths of the world don't really care for each other, but I'm really interested in the fact that there's someone else with the same name.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Anna Larsons there's too many of us.
There's a lot of you, yes.
Yeah. Well, fun fact, my maiden name is Smith. So,
wow.
But wait, I want to share this funny thing because I always like to say my whole name. I thought it was hysterical. So my whole name is Selena Nohea Valeoi Eku Ipo Smith. Like, you know what I mean? It's so random. Like, long
those
Johnny
two things
Blaney
don't go.
and Smith,
Don't.
right. So, now I'm a con Mackie. So, but okay. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, guys, if you find her on Facebook, she says you can add a connection, friendship, and just say why you're friending her, and you're being invited.
Yeah.
So, okay. Moving on. All right, Anna, what's our tip jar today?
Our tip jar comes from our bookkeeping professional at eNumerista, Joanna Linares, who says, how do you plan to save receipts and other business financial records? The electronic records section of the IRS publication 583 explains that all requirements that apply to hard copy books and records also apply to electronic storage systems. Does that fit today's topic or what? So maintain tax books and records. When you replace hard copy books and records, you must maintain the electronic storage system for as long as they are material to the administration of the tax law. So we've been talking
Google
about
Drive
organization today. And so just keep this in mind that electronic storage is just as important for your taxes and bookkeeping as hard copy storage.
Yeah, stored in Google Drive.
Yeah. And go find more bookkeeping tips from Joanna at eNumerista.
Right. Wouldn't you say, Dara? I mean, Google Drive is a great place. Create a folder, put those electronic records in there.
I had such a good time. I think it was maybe December 31st this year, or maybe it was January 1st, just a couple of months ago. And I deleted, because here in Canada, you only have to retain things for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I had gone fully paperless 7 years ago. And so I actually got to delete all the stuff that I had scanned en masse to go paperless. Oh, and I just was able to completely get rid of it. It was glorious.
You're so good.
I have a hard time deleting out your inbox, which I would get more stressed over deleting old tax records.
It was stupid receipts and it was, just honestly what had happened was I had scanned a bunch of stuff and put it in a file of to rename or to file.
Yeah.
And I had just never gone back to file it because I never needed it. It was all just kind of covering your butt type of scanning. Yeah. And so it was great. I was really happy that I had never spent any time naming it, because then maybe I'd feel more attached to it. And instead I just got rid of it all because it was all dated 2015 or earlier. So
oh my gosh, that's hysterical. I love it. Okay, I the hoarder in me is like, I'll just keep it. I'll just move it over. I know.
I call myself a data hoarder because I truly am. I really can't let go, especially because there's no harm.
Yeah, you are my spirit animal. Yeah, you're my spirit animal. I'm like, yeah, it's not taking up space in my house. You know what I mean? But man, if somebody went into my digital mind space, like where I keep things, it would not be pretty, All right, Anna, what is going on next week?
Okay, so we are closing down our show, but I do want to say that next week we are going to be talking with Felicia about systems and automations, which is a perfect flow from today's conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's just going to be talking. Well, I'm not going to give you the details. You're just going to have to come next week and learn directly from her. But we are super excited to have her on here. Selena and I met her in a workshop masterclass a couple of months ago, and Felicia is super smart and really good at what she does. So we're excited to have her come on.
Yeah,
and talk about how you can better automate things through the systems that you're using. Yeah. As always, we were so happy to have you join us today. If you are here live, if you are catching the replay, thank you for listening in. You can always find Anna and Selena at annaandselena.com. We love to hang out on LinkedIn. That's kind of our jam. But you also can find either of us either through our businesses or jointly on Facebook, Instagram, or your favorite podcast platform, where all of the 97 shows we've done are archived for your listening pleasure. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dara. We really just loved this conversation.
Thank you very much for tracking me down.
No,
insisting that I show up.
I know my tech heart just exploded today, like in happiness. You know what I mean? So I'm super excited you said yes.
Awesome.
All right. We will catch you. We will have this on the podcast, like Anna was mentioning, in a week or two. So again, we'll see you later. Aloha.